Cowboy Nation, I'd like to make this video addressing Dan Orlovsky's list, in which he ranked Dak Prescott the third worst quarterback going into the playoffs. And I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions about it. And I'm just going to be honest with you right off the bat. A lot of y'all are not going to agree with me on this. A lot of y'all are going to be possibly upset by what I have to say here. But I honestly, and I'm not a Dan Orlovsky fan, by the way. I do think that he's biased in a lot of ways. I actually think that his list was fair. I do think his list was fair. Now, the disagreements I do have with him is I do think that even though he lost today, Geno Smith had a better 2022 season than Daniel Jones, who was ranked 8th. But I'm not sure if he's going based off of like actual talent or if he's going based off of 2022 performance. I'm assuming he's going based off of 2022 performance. And if he's going based off that, I think his list is fair. The only discrepancies I have with it is Daniel Jones being ranked ahead of Geno Smith and Trevor Lawrence. Now, Geno Smith didn't play well today, but Geno Smith had a pretty good 2022 season. He really did. Geno Smith should have been ranked ahead of him, and then I would put Trevor Lawrence right behind Geno Smith because I think he also had a really good season, but not quite as good as Geno Smith. Geno Smith had a really good season for the Seattle Seahawks, and then I'd put Daniel Jones as 10th. But as far as the other guys, they all have outplayed Dak Prescott. How can Dak... People have said that Dak should be ranked in the top 5, and I'm like, so you're going to rank Dak Prescott ahead of like Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, who I'm not an Eagles fan. I hate the Eagles, but has had an amazing season, and we've seen that without him, the Eagles would be lucky to be a 500 team. You're going to say that Dak has outperformed them? There's no way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Tom Brady... There's no way Dak is better than Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady hasn't had the greatest season this year, but it's Tom Brady. You have to give him seniority, and you know what he's capable of. So you have to put him ahead of Dak. Kirk Cousins, he did not throw as many interceptions as Dak this season. He didn't turn the ball over as much. He had a better season than Dak. He just did. Geno Smith and Trevor Lawrence both had a better season than Dak. And honestly, you could maybe argue that Dak was better than Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones also did not turn the football over as much as Dak, and he also had a lot more rushing yards than Dak. And I do want to say this: I'm not a Giants fan, but I'll say this: the Giants have no good receivers. Dak Prescott has literally had CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, T.Y. Hilton, Noah Brown. And he has a good tight end set with Ferguson, Schultz, Hendershot, along with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. He has so much supporting cast to help him. Daniel Jones, man, he really doesn't have a whole lot of good supporting cast. I mean, the only good, offensive player the Giants have is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is the only good player on the Giants offense that Daniel Jones has. Darius Slayton is Daniel Jones's number 1 receiver. And honestly, Darius Slayton would be like our 4th best receiver, maybe even 5th. I might even give Noah Brown the edge over him. Now, Darius actually had a little bit better season than Noah Brown, but still, Darius Slayton is Daniel Jones's number 1 receiver. I repeat, Darius Slayton is Daniel Jones's number 1 receiver. And he would be like the Dallas Cowboys' 4th best receiver. So the fact of the matter is, if you're going based off a 2022 performance, Dak really overall didn't play great in 2022. I wouldn't say he was absolutely horrible. Now, he was horrible when it came to turnovers. 15 interceptions in 12 games is horrible. I don't care who you are. Now, 3 of those were not Dak Prescott's fault. I see a lot of Cowboy fans and Dak Prescott defenders saying that half of them were not his fault. I've watched some of the film, and I would say that maybe 3 out of those 15 interceptions were not Dak Prescott's fault. Maybe 3. And that's it. That's still 12 interceptions in 12 games that are definitely his fault. Don't care. Eight is completely wrong. Whoever's saying that is full of nonsense. They're just selling you the sugar. Sorry. There's maybe 3 interceptions that were not Dak Prescott's fault. The Hendershot one, the Noah Brown one, and there was like one more that I remember that was not his fault. And that's it. That's 3 picks. That still is 12 interceptions in 12 games. It's still not good. And honestly, this is going to make a lot of people upset, but if Tua Tagovailoa wasn't, or if he was healthy right now for the Miami Dolphins, Dak actually might be the worst quarterback going into the playoffs. And the reason I say that is because even Brock Purdy, who just won and played a really good game against the Seattle Seahawks, he has even outperformed Dak this season. And he is a 7th-round Mr. Irrelevant pick. Now, that's not to take away from Brock Purdy's been doing a really good job, but he also has a good supporting cast. But still, he has even outperformed Dak Prescott this season. So if you're going based off of 2022 performance, not talent. I repeat, not talent. Because I do think Dak is a little bit more talented than Geno Smith and Kirk Daniel Jones and some of those other guys. But if we're going based off of 2022 performances, Dak honestly is like the 3rd worst in the playoffs. You could maybe say the 4th worst at best. And that's just being honest. He could be, if you really were to rank it super harshly and be like super honest based on like turnovers and things like that, you could reasonably rank Dak as the worst quarterback in the playoffs. And that's just being honest. Because Brock Purdy has even though he's only played in 5 games, he has even outperformed Dak Prescott. He has even outperformed him. And Tua Tagovailoa, before he got injured, he had a way better season than Dak. And then Lamar Jackson, right now, he's not going to play, so I guess he doesn't count. But he outperformed Dak. So right now, Dak would be at best like the 11th best out of the 15 or 14. Out of the 14. The 11th best out of the 14 that are on that list. Because I could say he's definitely better than Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley. He's outperformed them. And then maybe Daniel Jones at best. You could argue that Dak has outperformed. That's it. That's 3 quarterbacks. The other ones, there's no way Dak has outperformed them. Absolutely not. No way. No way. Look at the stats. No way he's outperformed them. Yeah, I guess you could say Kirk Cousins maybe, but with the turnovers, no. And let's put it into context. There's people that think that Dak has played top 5, top 10 level. Dak Prescott has 2,800 yards, 7.3 yards per pass attempt, 23 touchdowns. That's decent. 15 interceptions and a 91.1 quarterback rating. Cowboy Nation, that's not terrible numbers, but that is not top 5, nowhere even close, and that's not even close to top 10 level. His quarterback rating is average. His yards per pass attempt is average. The only thing that you could maybe argue in his favor is the completion percentage and the touchdown passes, which has been 2 a game, which has been solid. But the interceptions are way below average. The rating is just mediocre, and the yards are mediocre. He's only had one 300-yard game all season. And it's not like Dak Prescott is being asked to throw the ball a whole lot. He's only had like 2 or 3 games this entire year where he's thrown the ball like 40-plus times, which I would consider to be pass happy. And he's still turning the ball over. So that's just my thoughts and opinions. I think it's, honestly, I'm not a Dan Orlovsky fan. I do think he's a hater in a lot of ways. But I do think the list is fair. I do think the list is actually fair for the most part. There's a little bit of disagreement there, but I think it's a pretty fair list. People saying that Dak should be at worst like the 6th or the 7th best in the playoffs. Look at the quarterbacks that are ahead of him. If we're going based off talent, you could maybe argue that, but we're going based off of 2022 performance, I believe. And if we go based off that, he's got to be like in the bottom 5 based off of 2022 performance. Not talent, but 2022 performance. He's got to be in the bottom 5. Just saying. I'm just saying. It is what it is. A lot of people will not like my take on that, and I get it. But honestly, look at the stats. Look at the numbers. 15 interceptions, to be the league leader in interceptions, despite the fact that maybe only 3 of them were not your fault, and you've only played in 12 games is not good. And even if the other 3 are not your fault, which I'll give Dak some credit there, 3 of those interceptions are not his fault, that's still 12 interceptions in 12 games, which is not good. It's not good. I do like the fact that Dak is being more aggressive. I'll give him some credit there. What I don't like is him being too aggressive, going too much, because it's causing turnovers, not being smarter about reading defenses and certain coverage packages. He needs to do a better job of doing that, especially going into the playoffs. Dak, we watched the Seattle Seahawks turn the ball over, and look what happened. They were in the game, about to score, and then Geno Smith fumbled the ball in the red zone, gave the 49ers the advantage, and there was no turning back after that. Seattle fell apart. San Francisco just totally destroyed them after that. That is what turnovers in the playoffs will do to a team, and I can see that doing it to us. Dak cannot turn over the football. Realistically, will he turn over the football? More than likely. But that's not good. That means our chances of winning are very low. You cannot get away with more than maybe 1 turnover in a game if you're lucky. You have got to play clean, smart football. You can't be throwing multiple interceptions a game. You can't be holding onto the ball too long and taking bad sacks and fumbling, which Dak has also done. What I watched Brock Purdy do today, and even Geno Smith at times, was play smart football. When there was nobody open and they didn't want to take a sack, they threw the football away. Dak doesn't do that. Dak needs to start throwing the football. He needs to do what Geno Smith and Brock Purdy does. If there's nothing there, either run, try to get some yards, or just throw the football away. Don't even give him a chance for a turnover. It's better to throw the football away and lose it down than to more than likely get sacked and fumble the football, put your team in bad field position. That's just being real. Okay? Now, Cowboy Nation, I'll come to you guys before the game on Monday. Okay? And I'll make a pre-game video on my thoughts and opinions, okay? But just saying, even though I'm not a Dan Orlovsky fan, I do actually think that his list was pretty fair for the most part. And people will come after me. I don't care. Look at the stats. Look at the performance in 2022. This is not based off of talent. Maybe it is, and if it is based off of talent, then maybe I'm wrong there. But if it's based off of 2022 performance, it is a fair list. That's all I got to say, Cowboy Nation. Catch you all later. Peace.